One of the tell me about a time questions that you're almost sure to hear is this one. This is a particularly tough question because you have to talk about a specific project or task that you were not successful on. Most people don't like to talk about their failures, but smart people heed the lessons of failure. Some, in fact, claim that people learn more from failures than from successes. So hiring managers or interviewers want to gauge your attitude here. The interviewer is not asking you a trick question. He or she is not trying to make you look bad. The interviewer wants to see if you are afraid of failure, if you are ashamed of failure, or if you have the kind of character that can heed the lessons of failure. This is a question that calls for you to use the STAR strategy in your answer. Before relating your story, you should be sure to think about it for 30 seconds or so before answering. You do not want to simply recite a memorized script. You should know your story, but present it to the individual interviewer in a conversational manner. This response will be one of your longer answers, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, so take your time before you answer. The first thing the hiring manager will be looking for is, are you self-aware enough to acknowledge failure and weakness? Make sure you communicate an attitude that says, yes, I heed the lessons of failure. Make sure you select an experience where you can demonstrate that you took a calculated risk and failed, but learned from this experience and were more successful in your next task or project. And most importantly, when you tell the story, do not put the blame on anyone else. Do not criticize anyone else. Make it clear that you can take full responsibility for your actions and decisions. It is important to select an experience that shows that you can learn from mistakes. You want to demonstrate how you changed your behavior or your thinking in the future to accommodate the lesson or lessons you have learned. Don't ever say you cannot think of any failures. That's the worst response you can give. We're all human. We've all made mistakes. And to say that you've never made a mistake marks you as dishonest or afraid to push your abilities to the next level. Show how you have learned and grown through your mistakes. Demonstrate your introspection and desire to learn and improve. When you can articulate what you've learned, that's what companies are looking for. One last comment. How you handle this question indicates to the interviewer how you react to difficult situations. If you freeze up, the interviewer will think that you may have the same reaction when problems arise. So take a deep breath. Don't be scared. Just tell your story. Let's see what John does with this question.
It was a project where we had to deliver an IT program to one of our clients. We missed a crucial deadline that set the deliverable date back a week. Our team had been running smoothly, and I was in charge of ensuring that all of our subcontractors were on board with the final product. I mistakenly assumed that we had buy-in from the client. But late in the game, I found out they actually wanted to talk about some of the final features of the IT program we were developing. I knew that the project's success depended on having everyone on board with the deliverable. I told my team we'd have to hit the pause button while I talked with the client. Once the client was good with our direction, we could then move ahead with the final deliverable. It turned out that this action was unnecessary. The client was in fact satisfied with what we were building. They just weren't 100% sure we were building what they wanted. When I met with them, they were not upset, but they also were careful to emphasize that they needed to be included in such conversations ahead of time. Our final deliverable was delayed by a week because of this communication breakdown, but I learned a key lesson about maintaining transparent communications with the client.
How so? Can you elaborate on that point?
Absolutely. This experience helped me understand how important timely and regular communication with a client is. My team and our subcontractors were all on the same page, and we were building what the client wanted. But I had assumed that the client knew that, and like someone who might order a car, was just waiting for the deliverable. I learned that I had to think of the client as part of the team, not as a customer waiting for a finished product. I learned that just as I was in constant communication with my team and subcontractors, I needed to be in constant communication with the client, especially as it relates to deliverables. I can't assume that everyone is on board with what's been decided. And even if that's the case, it's important that I go the extra mile to ensure that all participants are kept abreast of the process.
Can you follow the story? I want you to notice how John sets the stage as he opens. He answers the interviewer's question in his first sentence. It was a time when his team missed a crucial deadline. This is a good choice because it previews for the interviewer the experience that John will narrate. It also communicates that John considers missing a crucial deadline to be a failure. That's an important subtext to the story. What is the target in John's STAR format? I think the target is implied in the story. John wanted to make sure that the client got the product that they wanted. What is the action? John uses the language "hit the pause button" to describe the action he had his team take. This is an English idiom. Like most idioms, it conveys a picture. Sometimes you'll hear "push the pause button," which means the same thing. It means to stop an action temporarily. So John had his team stop what they were doing until he made sure the client was on board. That's another English idiom. If you say everyone was on board with the decision, that means everyone agrees with the decision. The picture here is as if everyone were all on board the same train, going to the same destination. How would you describe the result? Well, the result was John made a mistake in having his team hit the pause button. But what's important is the lesson he took from the experience. Everyone makes mistakes, but not everyone learns from their mistakes. In telling this story, John indicates that he's not the kind of manager to make the same mistake twice. He takes away an insight that is valuable to him as a professional and valuable to any organization he would interview with. Remember, you tell stories so your interviewer can see you in action. Interviewers ask these questions because they feel how you behaved in the past is the best barometer they have for how you will behave in the future. So craft your stories carefully. Be honest, but remember, you're telling your story to make a sale.